All right, what's up, guys, and welcome to the second episode of the Infinite Income Podcast. In today's episode, what I want to focus on is morning routines. Now, some of the stuff that I do now, I've picked up from other people, some I've researched, some I just did naturally. And so what I want to do is just simply go down the list of the things that I've done that I find beneficial, why I do it, should you incorporate it, and then hopefully this will give you more insight on what you can do for your morning routines. The first thing I want to talk about is I just bought an infrared sauna. Two reasons I did that. The first being that typically when I go to gyms, at least in Miami, they are broken all the time or they don't have one. And I think the major reason is that Miami typically is just super hot. The gyms that I've gone to don't typically have infrared saunas, or if they have a sauna, it's just a normal one. Now, what's nice about an infrared sauna is that unlike a traditional sauna, the infrared saunas don't heat the air around you, and instead they use infrared lamps that use electromagnetic radiation to warm your body directly. Now, because infrared heat penetrates human tissue versus simply heating the surface of the skin, experts will claim that infrared saunas are more effective than a traditional sauna at detoxifying the body. Other benefits that come from it is better sleep, relaxation, detoxification, weight loss, relief from sore muscles, clearer and tighter skin, improved circulation. It can also help people with chronic fatigue. On top of that, what I find super interesting about saunas is that it directly correlates to having more benefits the more you do it. So if you do it 7 times a week, you're going to get more benefits than 5, 3, 2, 1. So if you can make this part of your routine, it's super helpful. If you can find one at a gym, use that. If you can't, then I would recommend buying one for your home, which is what I did. The prices are going to range between $3,000 to $6,000. The one I got was about $5,000. And so you can get them for your home if they're not going to be at a local gym. The second thing that I bought was a cold plunge. Now, cold plunges are definitely harder to find. That's also why I got one for my home. There's only one gym in Miami that has one, but I don't want to have to get up and go over there every single time I want to use it. They've also shown that the benefits are typically before working out. So if I was going to go to the gym, I'd have to get in, use it, dry off, get out, do the workout, and then do a sauna. So instead, what I like to do, or what I do, is I have one that I purchased for my home. I get up, I'll meditate. We'll get into that later, but I'll get up and I'll use it. You're in there for 3 to 5 minutes is typically what they'd recommend to get the most benefits. Then you can dry off, and then you can go to the gym and do your other activities. So some of the benefits from doing this is going to be a decrease in inflammation. You're going to get a spike in dopamine. It's going to improve sleep and your mood, reduce stress, can help with aches and pains, reduce swelling, potentially increase testosterone, regulates hormones, and can accelerate your metabolism. Those are some of the things that the experts say. The biggest thing for me is I'm just looking at anti-aging and longevity. I just want to stay around as long as I can. The other reason to do it before a workout and not after is they've shown in studies that doing it after a workout can potentially hurt your hypertrophy and your muscle growth. It's very minimal, and I'm assuming most people who do this, they already are in great shape. So I don't think it's a huge thing to worry about. But if you can do it before, it's going to be a lot more beneficial. So if I had to choose, or I was giving you advice, I would wake up, do a cold plunge, dry off, do your workout, and then after the workout, go ahead and do your sauna. After a workout, doing the cold plunge isn't preferable to me because 1, you're going to lose some of the benefits that you just got from your workout. And then 2, I actually want to heat up. So again, I would recommend if you're going to get one, wake up, do the cold plunge, do your workout, and then you can go right into your infrared sauna. The third thing that I want to talk about is essentially the Brian Johnson diet. So if you guys haven't heard of Brian Johnson, he sold Venmo, I think at the time it was called Braintree, for $800 million. I don't know what his share was, but I believe he got about 300 million of that. After that, he wanted to get in better shape and take his health more seriously. So he started what he calls the Blueprint Protocol. So essentially, he's spending about $2 million per year, where he has doctors come in, they're testing him, they're doing all kinds of stuff. I think it's a little over the top. Right now, he's taking about 70 plus supplements. He's measuring his rectal function. He's doing stuff for his penis region. He's doing all kinds of stuff. But what I find interesting is that he's taking it super seriously and he's got enough money. He spent about $2 million per year just on his body, and he's able to do it. Now, the only thing that I'm really following from him, I shouldn't say the only thing, is mostly his diet. So if you go online to his website, you can type in Brian Johnson, and I think it's blueprintprotocol.co. It might be .com, but either way, he has his diet on there. Now, I really only have 3 meals. One of the meals I believe he calls is the green veggie. And essentially it's just vegetables. I add in meat to all my meals. He's following more of a vegan routine. I add in meat to all my meals, but I do the green veggie with some type of lean protein. Then I'll have I think it's the nutty putty, I don't know what it's called. It's some type of pudding that is basically nuts and berries. That's actually my favorite out of all the meals. I find it really tasty. It's like macadamia nuts, blueberries, strawberries, cherries, some other stuff like that. And it's really good. Now, keep in mind, I have a professional chef who makes this. So if you're not a professional chef or someone else is making it for you, it might not taste as good, but I find it probably the most appealing of all the meals. And then the third one that typically my chef will make, it's something with a sweet potato, and then again, I add chicken to it. So if you go on the website, you'll see exactly what it is. I can't remember it right off the top of my head, but I really enjoy the diet because one, it gives me a ton of energy, and then two, I don't have to eat quite as much. Back in the day when I was an athlete, I just pretty much ate everything and anything I wanted because I was expending so much energy and I was consuming so many calories because I was working out so much. As I got older and I started business, you're sitting around a lot more. And so I don't need quite so many calories. And so obviously the healthier I eat, the more satisfied I feel, the more satiated, and then I don't need as many calories. Plus, I just find that eating healthier now, I sleep better, I perform better, I feel better, my mood's better. So I'm not perfect on this diet. I don't follow as stringent as him, but I do notice the difference that when I follow this diet to a T, I feel a lot better. As a caveat, something I also do now is I'm fasting between 1 to 2 days a week. This week I've actually done 3 days, and I just do a 24-hour fast. I have done a 5-day fast. I did a 5-day water fast a few months ago. Very interesting experience. It really felt about the same for the full 5 days. I didn't get any hungrier after the first day. A few times when you stand up, if you've been laying down, you get a little dizzy and lightheaded, but overall it was a really good experience. And I think what was amazing is I lost, it wasn't the reason I did it, but I lost a good amount of weight. And so I realized, hey, instead of doing a slow diet like most people do for weeks on end, I can just fast 1 or 2 days, lose a good amount of fat, and then go right back to kind of a normal routine or a normal diet. And I enjoy, honestly, how I feel when I'm off food for a day or two. My system just feels cleaned out. I feel like I have a lot more energy. I don't feel so weighed down. And I've realized that I don't quite need as much food as I thought. And so it's actually helped me stay a lot leaner. I feel a lot healthier. Highly recommend you try the diet out. If you're going to do it, I would recommend a chef probably prepares it. I've tried preparing a few on my own and I just don't think it tasted quite the same. So I don't know, maybe my chef is sneaking some extra ingredients in there, but I just think it's the fact he's more skilled at making food. And I've definitely enjoyed that diet and I'd highly recommend it, and in conjunction with fasting. Now, something else interesting about Brian before we move on is he will eat all his food in about a 4 to 6 hour window. I don't recommend that. I don't want to fast for 18 hours, but the reason he does it is for the autophagy benefits that comes from fasting. So again, I don't fast to that degree where I'm eating everything in a 6 hour window, but I do enjoy fasting. I do think there's a lot of great benefits from it. Moving on now to peptides. I did recently get blood work from 2 anti-aging facilities. And unfortunately, I got some negative blood work back where I'm having to get some further testing to see if there's something seriously wrong with me. But while I'm waiting to get those results back, what I found interesting is they just test for everything and then they come up with a very unique supplementation routine where they tell you exactly what to do and how to do it. And I found it really interesting. I'm looking forward to diving more into that. Maybe I can shoot another episode at that time where I have that full supplement list. But for now, I'm only taking minimal amounts of supplements, you should say. So one of them is NAD+. This is a little bit controversial right now because a lot of the studies that are mentioned or quoted are in mice and not in humans. But because it's on the edge, I'm more prone to take it because the way I view it is it's a couple $100 if it doesn't work. And if it does work, it could give me a lot of long-term benefits. So some of the studies, what they found is NAD+ is found in every cell in your body. It's essential for creating cellular energy and maintain your cellular health. As you get older, those levels will decline with age. And despite the central role in cellular functions, the body doesn't have an endless supply of it. So it just continues to decrease. What they're trying to do is obviously replace this as you get older. And what they've seen in different studies is that it actually will reverse aging in some of the mice that they've done the studies on. So again, that doesn't always translate over to humans, but they've seen tremendous results in rats and mice. It's still inconclusive in humans. It may not even have any benefit at all, but for me, it's worth paying a couple $100 to see if it does work. And if it doesn't work, no big deal. Another one that I've taken or I like to take is what's called GHKCU, and it's really important for your skin. In short, GHK stimulates the synthesis and breakdown of collagen. Some of the benefits is it tightens loose skin and reverses thinning of aged skin. It can repair protective skin barrier proteins. It improves skin firmness, reduces fine lines, reduces photo damage, improves overall skin appearance, stimulates wound healing. So again, it's all around the skin. And for me, as I'm getting older, I'm 31 now. So as I'm getting older, I'm just trying to take better care of myself and, give myself any benefit or edge I can, as long as it's healthy. I'm not really willing to push the limits if it's going to hurt my long-term health. So for example, if I was going to take a large dose of steroids and I felt it was going to hurt me in the long term, I wouldn't do that. I'm open to taking pretty much anything as long as I think there are benefits for the long term. But if there's anything that I think is going to hurt my long-term health at this point, I'm not willing to do it. I would say in my 20s I was, because I was trying to compete and I was an athlete and I was into bodybuilding, but now I'm just not really willing to do that without medical supervision. It just isn't worth it to me. Another thing that I take is CJC ipamorelin mix. Now what this is trying to do is it mimics HGH essentially. I've never taken HGH. I'm open to it. I know Joe Rogan does it and some other affluent individuals that I'm friends with, but it's not something that I feel super comfortable with. I think with possibly, medical supervision, I'd be open to it. But what CJC, ipamorelin does, is it's supposed to mimic it, but it's a little safer because it has limits. So the only way I can explain that is, let's say HGH gets to a level 10 if you take too much. And if it gets to level 10, it can start enlarging different organs in your body. CJC and ipamorelin mix, maybe it only gets to a 7. And as long as you stay under a 7, you're fine. It only gets to a certain level, and that's why I feel a little bit safer with it. The reason that this is mixed is one is a short form and one is a long form. So they work very well together. And when combined, you can typically see a 3 to 5 fold increase in the growth hormone release over ipamorelin alone. And so this is going to increase the effects of the therapy. So typically what they'll say in terms of results, it's over time. But for example, month 1, you can have increased energy, improved stamina, deeper sleep. Month 2 is going to be more around better skin, better nails. Month 3, better sex drive, mental focus, improved joint health. Month 4, you can see weight reduction, improved skin elasticity, increased muscle mass. Month 5, you could have healthier hair, reduced appearance of wrinkles, better skin tone, continued reduction in belly fat. And then month 6, you're going to see overall increases in maybe muscle growth and then weight loss. And again, for me, it's just the overall benefits I'm looking for. I'm not trying to be a mass monster at this point. I'm not even trying to be super shredded. I just want to be single digit body fat, stay around 200 pounds or probably even less. I look my best like 190 to 200. I'm 6'2", keep a little muscle on my frame and just overall stay healthy and live as long as I can. Moving more into meditation now. Now, I wasn't always a huge fan of meditation until my trusted advisor, Thanasi, got me into it. And he just said that I looked stressed out all the time and that I was going to die young. So I actually started meditating. So the one that I use it's an app. It's called Insight Timer. There's a bunch of other ones you can use. I've just found it very useful. I like it a lot. I think I'm on a 33-day meditation streak, so I'm kicking his ass. And I like doing it in the morning. Something that's interesting is anything that you do consistently day in and day out, I think after a certain point gets a little monotonous sometimes and you almost forget the benefits. And I think the reason it feels that way is because getting the benefit becomes your normal. So for example, if you eat McDonald's for a month straight and then you start eating chicken and broccoli, you're going to notice a massive difference until you eat broccoli and chicken for a month. And all of a sudden that's your normal baseline. So I will say over time, what I've noticed is without me really focusing on it, I think it seems to have less of a benefit because I'm less stressed overall on average, right? I still get stressed out, but I'd say overall on average, I still definitely have my moments, no doubt, but overall I think it's helped and I enjoy doing it in the morning. So typically what I'll do is I'll wake up, I'll immediately meditate. After I meditate, I'll usually pray. I'll get into that in a second. Then I would get into the cold plunge and then I'll go straight to the gym after I dry off. And then after the gym, I will do sauna. Then I will go about my day. And then at the end of the day is when I would take the peptides and the different supplements. In terms of meditation, I think the biggest thing is just stress relief. I think it's also focus. Sometimes we're just so busy moving from thing to thing that actually creates more stress versus taking, 5 to 10 minutes. Typically I'll do 10 to 15 minutes and taking a second for yourself. So that's kind of what I like to do for meditation. I also find that I don't particularly like super over guided meditations. I usually like stable music and more chill. And then there might be a little bit of guidance, but it's not over the top. And again, I like using Insight Timer. So what's cool about Insight Timer is every single day I get something different. I think doing the same thing day in and day out gets very stale. And I'd highly recommend you check that out. I'm not affiliated with them. Just think it's a great app. After that, obviously is the gym. So what I like to do at the gym is there's two ways that I've trained. And I think obviously the benefits of the gym are pretty obvious, but there's two ways I've trained. The first way is a push-pull legs schedule. So I do each body part 2 times a week. One of those days is heavy. So it's usually 4 to 6 reps, as heavy as I can go. And then the other days are usually around 10 to 12 reps. That has overall, in my opinion, done the best for my body. I feel like I look my best. I get the best workouts. I get the most hypertrophy. I get the most strength. I feel like I get the most out of it. The other way I've trained is actually from one of my good friends, Alex Hermosi, who he trains every muscle every single day, whenever he feels like train. Sometimes, he texts me and tells me he doesn't train at all, and he looks like a freaking gorilla. But when he does train, he trains every body part every single day. So the way that will work is he'll usually do 5 sets for bicep, or like maybe not biceps. He'll do the big body parts. So do 5 sets of squats, 5 sets of bench. These are just examples. 5 sets of shoulder press, 5 sets of extensions, 5 sets of calves, whatever. And he does that every day. So at the end of the week, he's done about 35 sets for each body part. When I look at my schedule, when I do push-pull legs, probably same amount of sets, but it's just over 2 days. So instead I'll do 5 exercises, let's say 4 or 5 sets. And so it gets me in that 35 to 40 sets range. I think the difference in what he's going for is more frequency. And from the scientific studies I've seen is the more frequency you do, the more benefit, but it goes down steeply after number 2. So for example, if you do your body part once a week, you get a lot more benefit doing it twice a week. But then after twice a week, you get a little bit more benefit doing it 3 times, and then it starts to taper off. So the more frequency you do, you get more benefit, but you get less and less as the days progress. I tried doing it that way. The thing I didn't like was that I couldn't ever go heavy. And I just feel when I'm not able to go heavy, I don't have any scientific data to back this up. I'm sure there is some, but I feel like when I never go heavy and I'm just doing super high reps every single day, I don't get as much benefit. The other downside is that you have to warm up each body part before your sets. And so I didn't really enjoy warming up my legs and then doing 5 sets, then warming up my arms and doing 5 sets, and then warming up my shoulders. I just felt that it took me forever versus I could just focus on, if it was a push day, I would just focus on one warm up. I would start doing the sets, and then every exercise was some form of push. And so I didn't have to warm up anymore. So you can definitely do either. There's also 100 different ways to work out, but I prefer push-pull legs because I just feel I get more out of it for my body. I feel that doing a heavy day and then also doing a high rep day gets me more out of it. And I would say I have average genetics. Maybe someone could say I have a little above average, but it's definitely above average at best. A little above average, it wouldn't be a lot. But I'd say I have pretty average genetics. And so even when I was an athlete, I had to work extremely hard to get as big as I was. I was around 230 at my peak. Now I'm around 200. And so I was a little bit bigger, obviously a little bit fatter as well. But that's like what I like to do. And I've just found that to be the most beneficial. After that, I usually do 45 minutes of cardio each day, typically Stairmaster. I'm not opposed to doing anything else. I just got back from 6 months of travel around the world. I have looked into possibly doing jujitsu or Krav Maga, or however you say it. So I've looked into doing jujitsu or Muay Thai. Is it Muay Thai? Muay Thai. I've looked into those as possible options for doing my cardio instead of Stairmaster. Stairmaster works though. I feel it's not too hard, but it's hard enough you get a lot of benefit. I don't really like running anymore or doing any type of jogging. Not because I can't, I just don't enjoy it. I think my athlete days kind of wore me out where I ran and ran and ran and ran. But I've definitely looked into those as higher, better forms of cardio. You definitely get your heart rate up a lot higher. It's a lot more strenuous. So I've looked into that. Might move into that in the next couple of weeks. But right now, I mostly just do push-pull legs. And then right after, I will do 45 minutes of cardio. And I try to get it done 2 hours and 15 minutes, maybe 2 hours and 30 minutes max. If I'm really moving, I'm really hustling, I can get it done an hour and 45. But I usually like lifting for an hour and a half so I can kind of go at my own pace. The last thing to hit on is praying. And I'm not super religious. I did grow up in a very religious household. I was raised LDS, or more commonly known as Mormon. My dad was the equivalent of a pastor. I had 6 siblings, middle income household. Never went without, but never had more than I needed type of lifestyle. Growing up, very religious. My parents, had a lot of to-dos and don'ts that we had to do. I kind of fell away from it as I got older, but recently I've gotten more back into it. Almost feel like it's more for me than anything to really just help me focus and think about the day and what I want to have happen and who I need to be thinking about and like who needs my attention. I also feel it does help a lot with stress. Whether you believe in God or don't believe in God, I think some form of prayer does help. And I found it beneficial for me. So that is really my morning routine. Again, just from top to bottom, I'll wake up, meditate, pray. Right after that, I'll go into a cold plunge, dry off, go to the gym, come back, do the sauna, and then I'll go about my day. And then at the end of the day, I will take all my peptides or supplements. I do think it's very sustainable. I also, at times, instead of meditating right after I wake up and praying, you can do it inside the sauna because the sauna is usually about 20, 25 minutes in the infrared. But I feel it's very little effort to do those things. One other caveat is it also helps, obviously, my business, right? This is the Infinite Income Podcast. It helps in my business. It helps me want to eat healthier. It helps you stay more centered and more focused. I find that, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so if you can just have more of a healthier lifestyle, it starts to trickle into other things as well. Versus if you're eating bad food and you're not working out and you're not moving, that can also lead down the other direction. So hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Wherever you are, if you can subscribe, follow, share, keep listening. Make sure if you haven't yet, please leave a review. It helps get this out to other people. And I'm going to continue to bring you more episodes about how you can increase your health, your wealth, your income. Ultimately, everything you can do around personal development and your health is going to help you make and keep more infinite income. Thanks you guys for being here. I'll see you in the next one.